Dean, what is the enemy of progress?
Chaos.
Yes. Oof. Nasty word. Chaos.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weeky, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down our favorite slashers.
I just am hearing weekly on repeat. I'm so sorry. Oh, did you guys say your names? And I'm Chelsea Death.
And I'm Monica Hyatt.
Okay, maybe start over. No, you know what? It's fine. They get it. They've heard. This is probably not their first episode. Probably.
What if it is though?
Then they should get used to it fast.
Poor babes.
Welcome. Well, if it's your first time, are you having fun? Can you tell that we love a giggle? Maybe that made you feel so welcomed, like you're already part of the friend group.
Oh my God.
You're one of
Lovely.
us.
We're just all hanging out together, having a silly, goofy time.
And
Do you
here's the
love it?
thing, that's perfect for this movie that we're doing
Oh
this week.
yeah,
'Cause it's
so
gonna
silly,
be
goofy.
well, it's gonna be a hot goss like
That is
chit
true.
chat
That is
among
true.
Lots to
friends.
laugh about.
But it is a goss sesh. That's right, because you texted earlier, Monica, and you were like, Sydney, are you all up to date on the celebrity goss for this recording session?
Oh, and
Oh, yeah.
I have found an entire timeline for the "Don't Worry, Darling" drama that has happened over. Like the drama started in like what 2020. It happened for 2 years of almost non-stop just shenanigans.
It's still going. Yeah, I mean, frankly, it's
Seriously,
ongoing.
it's not over.
Well, if you, dear listener, if this is your first time ever on the internet today, welcome. Don't Worry,
so bad.
Darling is a 50s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company could be hiding disturbing secrets.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay.
This fucking
Sure,
movie,
I guess.
man. This fucking movie, man. Oh man. It's just I had such high fucking hopes for this movie. This was my most anticipated movie of the year, I would say. Like I was jazzed beyond belief. And then look at the mess we've made.
Yeah, I was really excited to see it in the sense that I thought it would either be really, really good, as the marketing suggested, or a really big shit show, as the news cycle was playing out to be. And then it was, for me, the first time I saw it, it was just so like medium, which was really
Fine.
disappointing. Yeah. I
But
wanted it to be big in some way or another, and it was really just medium.
The first trailer for this movie, like when it
Mhm.
dropped, because you know, heavy hitter Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, like
Harry
first-
Styles.
but it's his first like real speaking role because he was in Dunkirk,
for
but
2
apparently didn't
seconds.
have that many lines, and so this is his first. You know,
He's on an episode of iCarly.
Oh.
How dare you?
Oh
Sorry.
my fucking God.
So sorry. And I know this movie was like being really like big build, especially
Mhm.
by Olivia Wilde,
Yeah.
director, as this like really feminist, like sex, like
Sex positive. You'll never see a man come. You're just gonna get
Yeah.
Florence Pugh getting her pussy ate by heartthrob Harry Styles.
which like
we did get.
You do, and he really gets
don't
in
not
there.
get
You
it.
know, he does not hold back. Good for him and his acting choices in those moments.
It's
here's the
wonderful.
thing. If anything good can come out of this, it's I hope that women no, this is what we want. Like,
Well, but she cooked for so long, and I know she was the one that pushed the food onto the floor, but like they can't run out and pick up McDonald's afterwards. Do you know what I mean? That
I
meal's
do.
We're
just
getting ahead
over.
of ourselves.
That made me so upset. That do they have a microwave? You know what I mean? Like I watched American Hustle. I remember that was new technology at that time. Like, what are their options here?
And also, this is like really early on in the movie.
Like, thing is, the sex scenes were very hot, and also imagine being so horny you don't care about the chicken anymore. You don't care about the roast. Excuse me, that was the roast. That sounds
roast.
great. That's ideal.
The
This
roast
is
stayed
what
on the
that scene was
table.
saying. The
Would
scene
love
was
to be spit
saying,
roasted.
Stop.
like, your pussy's the whole meal. That's what it was saying. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't need, this is the
Yeah.
only eating I need to do tonight, honey. You know what I mean?
Here's the
Yeah.
thing.
And that's hot.
I do absolutely want people to like look at me like they have been starving and I'm
Uh-huh.
the first food that they have come across. That's
Uh-huh.
exactly how I want people to look at me at all times.
Ravenous, voracious, some would
Uh-huh.
say. Yeah. Bloodthirsty, but like
Yep.
not actually.
Unless
Consistent,
I'm on my
dosing all.
period, you know?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
feminism.
and that's feminism. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about this movie being a feminist film. Like, okay, girl, I see the vision in saying that. I see how it is hard to market what that means for this film honestly and authentically without giving anything away. So like if you're pushing it as a feminist film and you're also trying to preserve the viewing experience, I guess what else are you going to say other than Florence Pugh gets poo? Sorry.
How dare you?
Word
Florence Pugh,
today.
other than Florence Pugh gets her pussy ate early on and often. Like I sure, but what a weird choice to make in the marketing. I don't know. I just feel like there were so many weird choices that they made in the marketing. The trailer should have just been like left alone to speak for itself, but the interviews they did about this movie were all so weird from literally everybody. Harry Styles was out there being like, I love this movie because it's like a movie.
It's like a movie, and Chris Pine is absolutely dissociating, like right next to him. Like, oh my God. It's one of the funniest gifts ever.
It's that boy like should keep his mouth shut unless
so
like
cute.
a song's coming out of it, you know?
No, I like him. I just don't. I don't think he was prepared to lead a marketing push for what this movie wanted to be.
He
Well, he
did.
just
He had
doesn't
like
know how to
no
talk about
media
film.
training.
He should have been like, it was so
I-
fun to do. I loved it. I got a girlfriend.
It
but she's
really
not my
feels like a
girlfriend anymore.
movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, he
The
just
salad
like
dressing. I want to hear about the salad dressing, Harry. Like,
he has media training, but not to talk about that. Like he can talk about his music until the cows come home, but
sure.
like he doesn't know about acting. You know, he's not that good at it yet. Let's say yet. Maybe he'll get better. Like, he wasn't terrible as everyone thought, because there was also that video that came out in advance.
And he got
clip of him.
absolutely roasted.
He got so roasted.
I saw this movie in theaters with some of our OG Spooky crew, actually. And people kept laughing at everything that Harry did. And I kept being like, why are these bitches laughing? I don't get it.
I will say I did laugh at a couple of his when he was like screaming a little bit.
Sure.
It was just, you know, very like, what you doing, babes? But and also here's the thing too. So he was in My Policeman, which recently also came out, and I've heard a lot of like people that I know said that he was actually really good in it.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that's
so
a
I'm
lot
wondering,
better and gayer.
Is
I've
it
heard,
just
like, yeah, it's very gay.
the direction of this movie? Like, because they were having a thingy thing on the set.
Yeah, Olivia.
And so was she like enamored with his choices or just like unwilling to like push him in a way another director might?
Maybe.
I mean, she could have been blinded, but also like she overhyped him too. She was like, he will get an Oscar for his role in this
He
film.
did
Like,
get nominated for a People's Choice Award, okay?
wow,
Same
that's
thing.
the same thing. So yeah, you're right, actually. But like, she was like, his acting will blow you away, and I'm like, okay, Olivia, like,
Sure.
let's take it back a notch because like people had way too high expectations. But that said, I will be the first to admit that I was not fully objective while watching Harry Styles because I was like, wow, you know,
He's really cute. Yeah, he is really
he
cute.
dazzles me, man, and he looks
He's got the
so
riz.
cute in 1950s boyo clothes. Oh my
I
god!
think
So
everybody looks cute in like the 1950s aesthetic. This did make me want to do a Palm Springs trip like ASAP.
Yeah.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, we have to. It's very very fun. I have a whole slew of tiki bars we can go to. But anyway, I just think that when I first saw this movie, I saw it by myself. I saw it in the theaters by myself, which I've been doing, and it's terrifying. And at first, there was literally no one in the theater, and I was like, "Wow!" And this was like only a couple weeks after it came out, so I was like, "Uh oh." But people showed up, um, and I was like kind of dazzled by the aesthetics of it in all regards at first. Like, I loved the costuming. I loved the world that they created, the like perfect symmetry. I love the houses. I just like love I love 50s clothing style. I have a lot of like 50s inspired shit. So I was like, wow, beautiful. And the music was really fun. Um, and so I was kind of just like along for the ride. And then every time, like, I mean, it's like Florence Pugh, who like we love, and she's so hot, and I'm in love with her. And then Olivia Wilde, and I was just blown away by that. Just looking at her in that style, she looked fantastic. I'm just saying.
She
And
did
then
look
Harry
real
Styles
good.
being himself, being so hot, and also Nick Kroll looked
And
hot
then Nick
too. Just
Kroll
saying, he looked
and
hot too.
Chris Pine, arguably the best Chris's of the Chris.
Oh, Chris Pine looked scrumptious, honestly, and he was a horrible man.
And
But
Gemma
I was
Chan.
blinded by
Everybody
the
looks
lights.
super hot.
Oh yeah, everybody is hot in this, but I was totally blinded by that at 1st.
Mhm.
And like watching it again was cool to go in with a critical eye a little bit more to see more of the flaws. I still saw the flaws in the first place, but that said, I still fucking liked it. So whatever, we'll get into it later.
Yeah, that I was like surprised by how much you liked it the first time that you saw it, Monty. And I felt like you were
I was shook.
like going to bat for it a little, just talking about it with like me and Sydney. I think I maybe liked it the most medium right away because I think, Sydney, you kind of went in with appropriately tempered expectations.
I was
Yeah.
expecting absolutely nothing from this movie.
Yeah. And I was really expecting something one way or another, and I didn't get something. And I think part of the reason for that is like, I don't necessarily think that the direction was bad. Like, I think there's a lot of really good stuff here visually from the direction. I think it is like a gorgeous film in that regard. I think it's like the storytelling that leaves a lot to be desired. And I don't know if that's just because they don't have enough time or if they didn't prioritize what they wanted the story to be exactly with the time that they had. I also
This
think
movie's
it's
totally.
like over 2 hours long. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like they could have really had a plot.
I also
a
feel
good
like
plot.
they're rehashing a lot of ideas at this point, which is not to say that this film didn't have like new unique ideas back when it was written and first optioned, but like it is treading a lot of the same ground as like Black Mirror and Made for Love and stuff like that at this point, which like some of those came out before, some of them came out after, but it wasn't putting enough of like its own spin on things other than the mid-century modern aesthetic. But even so, Made for Love is literally like in the desert, Palm Springsy still, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just it's borrowing so much intentionally or unintentionally.
Well, I totally agree with what you're saying. They were such a focus on the visual in this movie. And like, yeah, it was dazzling and yeah, it was well done. And yeah, those fucking ballet, circular, mesmerizing I don't even know what was
Ladies.
going on. Ladies in black and white, Dita Von Teese, were wonderful. But they focused too much on the visual. It was all visual. It was all these like hallucination adjacent things happening in like weirdly paced succession.
Yes.
And then it just like you get to the crux of the movie and you didn't like Florence got somewhere that we as the audience didn't get yet because like they didn't give us any information actually. Like I wish the characters had like talked to each other more, you know?
If
I
this
want-
had been, sorry, you go.
Oh, I was like, I would just want like it kind of started to like it visually built a world, but I want to know more about the women or like Gemma Chan's character, the wife of
Gemma
the bad guy.
Chan's
Like,
character.
what is she? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to see more of like how they interact in this world a little bit.
Yeah.
And because it's so weird how it's like fine and dandy. Oh, maybe things aren't fine and dandy. Oh, we're so many weird things. And then we literally we don't find out like the twist in this movie until there's 30 minutes left in the movie, and this movie is 2 hours long.
I think this is a movie that could have really, really, really benefited from being a TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if
Ooh,
you
I
had-
hope someone makes it into
Yeah,
one
I mean,
day. That would be awesome.
It would be awesome because I think there's so much room. If you do like a 7 to 10 episode arc, you know what I mean? You can give more focus to individual characters. Like we could see what the fuck Margaret's whole deal is, because apparently Kiki Lane filmed a lot more for this movie. And in the original promotion, Olivia Wilde kept talking about what an incredible performance Kiki Lane gave, and then we just don't see her
And
at
then she
all.
was like,
And she did that Instagram post where she was like, at least I met my boo, because she and the guy who plays Ted, her husband, are dating in real life after meeting on the set of this movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they're so hot together. They're a great couple. Ariel Stachel, I'm not sure how to say his name. But they both did an Instagram post that was like, at least I met my boo. Sucks that we got cut from pretty much the whole fucking film.
Well, that's another part of the issue. Like, what did they leave on the cutting room floor and what did they pick up? How many times did I need to see those dance girls do a little dance in a circle?
How many
why
times
did they
did-
turn into weird zombies?
why
for a
did
second?
Harry Styles have to do a 7-minute jig?
I
Little tap
that
dance.
was like that tap dance was the equivalent of the Dominic Fike song in this season of Euphoria. Like it was
Yes.
just like, why is it happening?
Why?
He looked like a jazz version of an inflatable tube man.
It was so bad.
Did you
And
guys
jazz
see
hands.
that video of the late great what's his name? Leslie Jordan? Is that who I'm thinking of? Yeah, the late great
Yeah.
Leslie Jordan doing the Daddy Watch Me Twirl. But it was Harry Styles
Oh my
doing his
God.
little tap dance.
Oh my god.
God.
I have not seen that, but I need to see it.
I need to see that immediately.
Spectacular.
I'll find it for you.
But like going back to what we were saying about how they wanted this to be a feminist movie, and then it's like not.
It's
like was
absolutely like not a feminist movie at all.
It's
I mean,
a
like
feminist
obviously they're
movie.
telling you what is happening is bad. They're like, this is bad and it shouldn't happen. But like it could have been feminist more if
It's a
they
story
focus on
about
the
a woman.
women a little bit more. There's not a big focus on the women besides Florence. Like we don't like all these like amazing side characters like Kate how do you say her last name?
Berlant?
Something? Berlant. I've never said it out loud. Like she is so Berlant.
She's
so
wonderful. I love her in A League of Their Own. Everybody watch A League of Their Own right now.
Oh, I would love to. I really want to watch that. I have to
Oh.
finish Evil and then I will get right on it.
Okay.
But like she's amazing. Like Gemma Chan is amazing. I was so intrigued by Violet, Sydney Chandler's character. Like there's so many good things. Like Olivia Wilde character, dude. There's so much to dive into there.
Yes.
It's like the opposite of Knives Out, which we just did, where they did so much getting to know you. They did none of that here at
Here's
all.
the thing. If you make it a TV show and you give not characters their own whole episode necessarily, but like a focus to some degree for an episode, and you show like how they met their husband on the train when they dropped their ticket and he picked it up and handed it to them, and then they went on their honeymoon, and like you get a little bit of like a
To the
like a
Poconos?
5-minute montage, of like how each character like came to join the Victory Project, but in the eyes of the like 1950s setting, and you set up showing us those similarities instead of giving us a moment where Florence Pugh just says, hey, isn't it crazy that we have all of these similarities? A little too crazy, maybe. Like that could be really powerful and do some really good heavy lifting. And like, I don't know. I think if you could reveal the twist so much sooner to the audience, or hint at it in other ways that are meaningful to the audience, if you had more space and time and really build out the mystery and really have a whole episode of like Bunny
Yeah.
and what her whole fucking deal is, so that you can analyze her choices throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just withholds so much in a way that I think is damaging.
No, yeah. And it's like, it's Florence is such an incredible actress, and she's obviously onto something, but all of these things that she's onto are like simulation glitches. So it's not like she's like doing smart shit. That's another way that it could have been. I have, yeah, that's exciting. Another way it could have been feminist is giving Phyllis a little more fucking agency. So she like goes around and she's like, Violet, well, how did you
And she
get here?
talked
Ask
to the
people
other
questions.
ladies.
Right.
Doing
Yeah.
some little detective work or some shit like that. Like that could have been fun.
Does this movie
Even-
pass the Bechdel test?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I bet it does, but let's see. I'm sure someone
The girls
Don't
all talk
worry,
about
girl.
dance
Beck
in the
will.
dance studio.
And shopping. They like the tennis
Yeah.
dress.
Come on. Okay, here's another thing that I was embarrassed. I texted Chelsea and Sydney yesterday, and I was like, this movie is turning me into a trad wife. Because the opening of this movie made me
My
go
dream.
buck wild, because it made me excited because that seemed like a fucking fun ass party, and I want to make a fucking martini tower, okay? And I want
That's
to
what
do
I'm
my
saying.
hair like Olivia Wilde, and I can have these simple wants and also be a dynamic woman who does things, but I really want that also. Just saying.
Here's my
Okay,
thing.
just for
about
the-
doing it for
We
New Year's Eve.
could do like all of our friends live it like, and they work at the
cul-de-sac.
Victory Project.
That'd be so fun.
And I like,
Let's
we
buy
have
out a cul-de-sac.
unlimited credit
Let's
to
get
just
rich.
buy things and a community pool.
Uh-huh. It sounds ideal. There's a lot of good things about this, but the fact that they're all there against their will is a bad thing.
Yeah. The cherrypicks.com website says this film does pass the Bechdel test, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not
That
shocked
makes
by that,
sense.
because it is a pretty low bar to set, especially with so many named women in a film like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that the women's stories are so disconnected from each other, sort of it's weird, because obviously they mostly are spending times in groups with each other, or just women, and because the men have to leave and go to quote unquote work every day. But it's just so shallow, because they're creating this existence that's very shallow for the women on purpose. They
'Cause
can't
they don't remember
meaningfully-
details about their
Yeah.
lives, so they can't share them.
And because the men are also just making shit up for their backstories. They obviously can't have their real backstory. And then, these men are not putting in the work to make them fully fleshed out characters.
No.
But it's even just like, okay, the relationships that should be central to the film don't have any like heart in them. Like
Yeah.
Florence Pugh's whole thing, Alice's whole thing is like, Margaret was my friend and I should have believed her. We literally never see even a single glimpse of that friendship. Not even a
Yeah.
single
Thank
glimpse.
you.
And
That,
even, like,
I think, was a big mistake.
And even like her and Bunny's friendship, like
So surface level. It's just like,
Yeah.
haha, you have kids and they like me, and that's fun. Okay.
And we're
And
neighbors.
we get drunk all day, every day.
Like, I want to see more of like what their lives were here. I think if you saw more of like how they interacted in this thing and then introduce the twist earlier and
Mhm.
then worked, even if you just introduced it to like us, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like Florence Pugh doesn't have to know yet.
Yes, but we should know. And I think it would have been more engaging because it was, even though it was a little boring, quite frankly. Like I got real bored in the middle.
There's too many, like, that's the part where there's all the dancers all the time. And I'm just like,
Yeah, there's like this
and they do
suspense of like what's
flashbacks in a
going
weird
on.
way.
There's the eggs are empty, the walls are moving in on her, and there's all these things where it's like, okay, am I to believe, knowing the rest of the film as I do, because I've seen it, am I to believe that these are just like normal computer glitches that are happening? Am I to believe that her growing awareness to some degree means that
System
she's
can't
not being
handle her.
programmed as well? Yeah, am I to believe that someone dying within the system, as presumably Margaret did, meant that like there were like relating kinks or something that happened? Like it's the glitches aspect of it is just never meaningfully explained, and it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be, but given what the movie is and how that is the horror for an hour and a half of the movie until they reveal what's really going on, it's like, okay, what was that even about? Like, why was the plane there and why did it crash? Obviously that was not designed in
plane-
there. Why are there planes overhead? Why is there random vibration that they go, at least we know the boys are working? Like, what?
Right?
Excuse you?
Well, I don't know if that's, well, they're not all in the same place. I was thinking maybe like it was just like Jack and Alice were just like they're in the same bed, right? And like maybe there's a train that went
That's a
by or
speculation
something
that
like
people
that.
had. Yeah, that like their apartment is near the train tracks or whatever.
Yeah. But okay, I think at least for the plane, but it doesn't really make sense. At the end, the plane is red. Like they do a little flashback to it, and it's red like the plane that the little boy
That
had.
Margaret has.
Which
Yeah.
that
Margaret had a
Margaret's-
child, know what I mean, that we never see.
Well,
We
that's-
see them like
that whole
walking into the desert
aspect of
together.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That
Here's
whole
my
aspect
question.
of it is so fucked up that the children are all like fake.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, the trauma these women will face if they
Okay.
get out of this.
That's okay.
Is unbelievable.
I know. So we haven't actually said what the twist is. We've
Whatever.
just vaguely talked
They
about
get it.
Do
Welcome
they?
to Don't Worry, Darling. They're all in a computer simulation. They're
Like,
enslaved by
made
their
by
husbands in the 1950s to
incels.
be trad wives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boo.
They're like incel husbands. But so this brings something up too, is if they can create AI children, why not just create AI wives? And the guys can go in there and like live
and let
a
your real
fantasy
life. Yes, that could be a horror
They're
movie
trying-
too. Like your real life
Yeah.
wife is out there. She divorced you, so you made a fake version of her that you can control and will do what you want. And later, these women are learning that this is something that happened in the real world. You know what I mean? Like there's so much room for that, but they really kind of complicated the issue by being like, also there's NPCs, and why are they giving them children? Is it because that's like their vision of what they wanted, or is it like we can't let the ladies have jobs, so we have to give them something to do, so Shirley has to be pregnant all the time forever?
Well, I guess also
Poor
too,
girl.
this
Peg, sorry,
this goes
that's her
back
name.
to like societal thinking. You get a lot of people wanting to go back to the 1950s
Mhm.
because in their head, like they didn't live in the 1950s.
Yeah.
We just see like all this like
They just watched
TV
Leave It to
media.
Beaver, and they
Yeah,
went, that
and-
sounds nice.
I love that
Exactly.
outfit. Look
They're
at
like,
those victory rolls.
Exactly. And so it's like somebody just said, okay, this is what we think the 1950s were. And, you had to have kids and a picket fence and, all this kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's like part of that. The nuclear family and
Yeah,
all.
became
then
like
you have,
really
like,
big in the 50s.
Alice and Jack are specifically not having kids and are not doing that until she's asking questions and he's like, actually, maybe she needs to be busier than she
No,
is.
I got it. 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 I got it.
Okay.
I figured it out. It's similar thing to the bunny story that we get later on, but not exactly. She's like complicit in this, right? And we'll get into that later. But I think it could be a manipulation tactic if the women ever
Okay.
do find out and they've formed this incredible bond with this child that they believe to be their own. And it's like a manipulation to get them to
They don't want to
stay in this
Even
leave
if you
thing
know
because
it's not
if they
real.
leave, their
Yeah.
kid is gone, And like, are you
Mhm.
willing to sacrifice this fake kid that you love to like have your life back? Like that's a whole other part of this movie. I feel like I was still moved by it in ways because it just really horrified me. I think also it was so scary to me because I was alone and I didn't have anyone to make little jokes to as I watched it. And that always makes me feel safer and better. But I was like all alone with all these thoughts in my head. And there's like a lot to contemplate with this. I mean, there's the horrifying nature of these incels that take over their wives or girlfriends or complete strangers' lives because there's that one little tidbit we get when we see Harry Styles, the ugliest I hope he ever looks in his life.
What a fucking jump scare.
That was the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. They did a great job.
Dirty Harry Styles. I shouldn't have washed my hair today. Could have kept it on theme.
And like
Oh my
the
god, I haven't
worst
watched mine for a long
goatee
time. So
ever put on a man. Do you think he grew
Dude.
that out, or was it like put on him?
the
I think
makeup,
he grew it out because I don't believe he can grow a strong beard. I think that's probably the best he got.
no, yeah, I agree.
That
He doesn't look
scans.
like a facial hair kind of guy.
No shade. Very cute guy.
no.
He doesn't need to grow his hair out, and mostly he doesn't.
Yeah. No, I know many men who cannot grow a beard, and that's for the best for them, and that's great. They have great chins, so they don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, side note from what I was gonna say, the makeup in that moment was fucking incredible. They did so many little things to make him look so unsettling, especially if you are so horny for Harry Styles as I am.
As everybody is.
Yeah, they gave him like the texture of his skin. They changed, like they did the thinning hair, like which some people argue that he's already having that. But anyway, I don't want to talk about
The
I don't want
Harry
to talk about
Styles
that.
bald allegations.
I don't like that allegation. I don't like to think about it. So we move past it
No,
and we
I love
pretend that he
it.
will never lose his hair. And if he starts to, he will get hair plugs, Harry.
No,
You've got
the
the money.
allegations are that he already wears wigs.
I know.
Of course he does. They're so
Cool.
good.
I don't
Good
even
for
care.
him. What's wrong?
Men
I
can
had
wear wigs.
extensions for a long time. Yeah, do
Men
whatever
should
you
wear
need to
wigs.
do. Feel good about
Men should wear
yourself.
toupees. They have great toupees. I watched a Try Guys video one time where the one who doesn't have that much hair got some fancy hair things and he learned about toupees they glue on your head and they were beautiful and it was very informative. So men, there's always options. Anyway,
I love watching toupee TikToks.
They're so cool. But also, if you don't want a toupee, you don't have to do one either. Let's
don't
all
have to have a
defy
toupee.
societal expectations, etc. But also, if you want to feel pretty, do whatever you got to do.
who is
Not
one of my
whatever, I
favorite
guess.
men that I think
Oh.
is very hot and it's problematic? Vin Diesel looks great bald.
And
Looks
Pitbull.
great bald. Pitbull,
And-
my hubby.
My
Mr.
guy,
Worldwide.
Pitbull. And my
I'm
friend Bavesh,
Mrs.
he
Worldwide.
shaved his head and he looks sexy. So Bavesh, you don't listen to the pod that often, but if you choose today,
If you ever do, yeah.
he has before. But anyway, like that was a really good part of the movie, how scary they made him. Let's say that. How about that? But back to what we were saying before. It's just the implications of this whole thing are so fucking terrifying, and it would have been such a scarier movie. Like I wanted this to be like a scarier movie, and it had all the had all the nightmare fuel. If they had
Mhm.
just delved into a little bit more, like which of those women is just some random fucking woman that dude kidnapped, you know? Because Harry's like chosen nationality British, lol. Like
Like relationship status, like new previously, like
Yeah,
what?
they
Yeah.
say they're pre-existing, which means that there are options to not be pre-existing.
not pre-existing. Yeah. And also, I love that they're like psychological eval, and they show him looking like completely hollowed out, man.
And
Like
it just says
very frightening. And it's like
Busted.
fair.
fair.
He's
Okay, great.
good enough. Yeah. Yeah,
Medium.
I think also like, okay, not to get it too into my TV thing again, because I could talk about it forever. But
I love the idea.
I mean, I just think like Bunny, obviously, we know has known the whole length of the film, at least. We don't know if she chose to come in initially or if she chose to stay at some point. Like, I don't know that they exactly parse that out, other than she says, like, it's my choice. It sure seems, based on the end, that Shelley, Gemma Chan, knows something, but we don't know what exactly.
A
But
fucking
imagine-
waste in that
know.
moment too. Keep
Imagine
going.
for a moment, this film, I think, has, okay, some of the criticisms that I saw of this movie were that they are romanticizing and idealizing the 1950s for these men and what that time was. Obviously, we talked about that. One of the criticisms that I saw was that it is like race blind to the realities of that, which is that those times are very white and those times were not great for people who were not white, and the communities who would do such a thing as the Victory Project and idealize that are also racist a lot of the times, and that just does not come into play with the characters. And maybe that's great that we just don't see that. But I think if we're going to ignore that and we're going to go full everybody is bad equally, maybe on some level, you can also come into that with the women to some degree. Like, I want to see Shelley as the leader of the Victory Project for season 2, and she doesn't care that all these women are still enslaved because now she's the one in power and running the show. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, if we're gonna embrace that, let's fucking embrace that. And let's tell a woman's story, even if she's not like a good woman. You know what I mean? Like, let's just get something from them. I want something from them. I want depth.
No,
Right?
totally.
Because you can support women's rights, but you can also support women's wrongs.
You
Say it
and you
again,
should
Sydney.
sometimes.
But to what you're saying, Chelsea, about like the unrealistic portrayal of the 1950s, I don't know. I feel like that kind of like makes sense with the ethos of these motherfuckers, you know? Of course, they don't know enough to make this realistic, and they're not trying to make it realistic. They're trying to make their like new utopia, you know? So they're like picking and choosing what they want to be a part of it, obviously. So I don't know. I feel like that could kind of make sense that they would fuck that up because they suck and they're evil bastards.
I don't mean that they are not committing to the racist reality of the 1950s. I mean also the movie is kind of ignoring the racism that would exist within those characters who are part of a community such as this at all.
I see. Yeah, no, I guess I just never expected them to get to that level.
Yeah, and I think it's complicated when it's like, obviously they're satirizing to a degree real world things and communities and people and the ideas that they have. Like, Olivia Wilde literally said that Chris Pine's character is based on Jordan Peterson, who did that like What is a Woman documentary and all that stuff. I know. But also, if you want to have a movie that is diverse and inclusive, like, obviously you're going to cut a lot of that and not want to make it your storyline. And it's so easy to just not do that. And you don't have to do that for the sake of like reality or whatever. But it just feels a little like, if this is the conversation that you're having, people were saying that it felt like the white woman's version of a Jordan Peele movie. You know what I mean? That it's just like engaging with it without really like engaging with the realities of some of it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's an apt description. Oh God, poor Olivia.
I think that it had a lot of really great ideas, and then it was so invested in the aesthetic and in the vibe that it forgot to put in parts of the movie.
Yeah, no, literally.
I know this movie had a bunch of rewrites also.
Yeah.
So there was like I found like the endings.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So like this movie, the first act, pretty good, compelling. The second act, a lot. And then like the third act, like the ending, I think is just kind of bad.
The very, very, very ending is so what keeps you alive, if you guys recall how that movie ended.
Yes.
With the gasp and the black screen.
I
Do you
don't
remember?
even. I
The
don't remember.
lesbian,
Yeah,
Jackie,
with the
Megan.
boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the end,
Oh, you don't find out like.
yeah, you
What
just
happened?
get
Yeah. No, I know that could have been like if we're doing this as a TV show, there could be a whole thing of her like getting out because like the whole thing is that they're gonna kill her, right? They know
they're
where they
still gonna
fucking
hunt her
live.
down. Yeah.
So they could pop out of the fucking computer simulation and go down to wherever the fuck they live and shoot her with a gun, you know? And her
Okay.
muscles are probably all atrophied to shit. Just saying.
She's
How long has she
still
been laying there?
buckled to that bed. Also, like, can she get out of the buckles?
I want to get your opinion on these. So there's the original ending.
Okay.
Also, did you
Uh-huh.
know that this movie was like co-written by Dick Van Dyke's grandson?
The original script was, and then it was punched up by Katie Silverman.
Yeah. So
Damn.
there was the original one, there was a 2020 rewrite, and then there was the one that we got.
Okay.
And so the original one is like at like the ending. So Alice ties up and sodomizes Jack with a broomstick.
Or is about
escapes-
to, maybe? Is it?
No.
Oh,
the
she
first
fully
one-
gets. She gets it. Okay.
Uh-huh. The first one she does. Escapes
Oh my God.
from the simulation and kills him in the real world by stabbing him in the eye with a screwdriver.
Sick. Love it.
But he's already done enough damage to her to where she's also bleeding out, dying on the floor. Then she wakes back up in the 50s with him still dead next to her. The doctor tells her she's had a psychotic break, believing she's in a simulation, and she's put in a psychiatric ward. Olivia Wilde's character Bunny comes to visit and whispers in her ear that she was right and she's opened an exit portal for her. Just as Alice goes to open it, it cuts to black. So it's like a lot more ambiguous on if it's like
Wow.
real
That's
or
way
not.
more intense.
And the 2020 rewrite
Mm-hmm.
is so Alice she paralyzes Jack with pills, smashes a glass over his head, and then whacks him to death with a golf club. And then
Use golf against them.
and then it says in what feels like a weird homage to the original, she brings out a broom to clean up the mess, not to do anything to him after. When she tries to escape, she runs into Frank and then suddenly wakes up in the hospital, still in the 1950s. They tell her she's had a psychotic break. Bunny comes to visit and drives her to the middle of the desert where there's a cliff. Bunny tells Alice she has to jump off the cliff to get out. Alice jumps. Then we see the 1950s housing development triple in size with Frank's voiceover giving his spiel about it's being paradise. So it ends with them
So she
like,
dies.
well, they don't know if she escaped or she died, and that like the community is still growing.
Okay.
And I think there was one where, hold on, when she was like out and then like in the world and she had to come like more where she came back, which I think would have been the first one. Like she's in the world for a little bit and then she like is
Right.
back.
Yeah.
And I think here's the thing, I think that would make a lot of sense. Like,
what I'm recalling from the article that I read about that was that it was like she discovered how to leave, but then it was like her husband was coming home in the real world, and so to not be discovered, she like put herself back in the simulation.
Oh, I love
and
that.
then it's like a whole thing. I don't know.
I like
just
that a lot.
that would have been way more feminist.
I don't need her to sodomize him though, because that just like I just don't need that to. I just feel like that like takes us farther from the point. You know what I mean?
I think in the version that I read, the article that I read, it was saying she like almost did, and it was more that she was just like trying to get him to talk than it was like revenge.
Oh. Okay. Fair. Damn,
Yeah,
I need to
it's
read this
I mean,
article.
obviously never non-consensually sodomize anybody, but
Only
the
consensual
character
sodomy here.
motivations, yeah,
Okay.
are
Yeah.
different in such
Fair.
a portrayal. But yeah, I mean, I think that those endings are a little more interesting, a little more compelling. I feel like this ending is a little shallow in the
Yeah.
sense that so much of the movie is just Alice's story exclusively, especially considering how much of Margaret's story they literally fucking cut out. But then they didn't want it to feel so grim for all of the other women that were trapped there, that they were like, what if we give them something? Shelley gets to stab her husband. Violet looks like she's putting pieces together. Like, they're trying to be like,
But
what if
like,
the
how are
women
they gonna get
revolt?
out? They
Yeah,
don't have the information, you know? I wish she had been like, they're all controlling you. Kill them
yeah.
and then they die for their life. But they could have then turned around and killed all the
It
wives.
just
I
feels
don't
like
know.
commit to it being grim or commit to it being like an uprising for all of the women, but this like weird middle ground they tried to tread, maybe for time's sake, maybe to preserve the focus on Alice, like took away from whatever they wanted the final note to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
They just
that's
undercut
really
themselves so
interesting.
much.
They really do, but I don't think I hated the ending as much as you guys did because unlike lots of articles that I read that said that they did not feel compelled by Jack and Alice's relationship, I think that they had really good chemistry even though we didn't see a lot of the like emotional going on between them. I thought it was really interesting though cuz I feel like kind of what they were doing, which is it's fucked up. But you know, I was still
That's the
compelled by
movie.
it.
Yeah.
It's the movie. I like there's these moments, especially right when she's really realizing, right? She's just come back from being fucking lobotomized and she pulls the beautiful chicken out and he starts singing the song like a fucking idiot. Dear God, Harry, why are you doing that? And they sing it together. How beautiful. Of course he gets to sing in the movie. It's Harry fucking Styles. But she fucking remembers everything and she remembers what happens and she like ask him like why he took away her life. And then he's just like, I love you. You are miserable. And now I've created this perfect world for us. Like, we're perfect in here. And like, he's hugging her and he's saying that he loves her. And she's saying that she loves him too, because she does still love him. And she has had fun at those cocktail parties that I was mentioning earlier
Mm-hmm.
with all of her homies. And there's like parts like she has to choose like this life is obviously worse inside, like when you look at it. And like for us, you're like, oh, why would you ever want to give up your agency? But then she
And
has to
also, she
like
spends so much time cooking and cleaning a fictional simulation.
I know.
That drives
But
me
okay,
crazy.
just hear me out. Just hear me out here. I mean, like it's like choosing between like the easy life that she's been leading. Like
Mm-hmm.
staying is so easy, they'll make her forget again, and she'll be in this pseudo bliss, right? With the man that she loves. Or she has to face the reality that the man that she loves is actually a fucking psychopath straight up for reals. And she's wasted her he's taken everything from her and he just sees her as this plaything. And so it's just like having to like latch onto that reality and be like, okay, this is real. And then I have to go fight for my fucking life now. I don't know. I just thought that's like very tragic and a very like that was kind of I think that was kind of expressed well, at least for me, especially in that final moment before, like she's run up the spiral hill, blah 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 blah. All the red suit men are coming, blah 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 blah. Cool car chase, blah blah blah. And she's at the precipice. She can put her hands on that glass door, and she'll be through to the other side. But there's that moment when he like hugs her still. I don't know. I was moved emotionally and it was still fucked up, but like I still liked that part of it. I think they could have lost it and done something cooler, but I still liked that. That's my
I
feel.
would have been moved a lot more in my TV show where we get a whole episode where we get a lot more time of what their life looked like together in the real world, and we see what being in love looked like for them, presumably before he lost his job and then got radicalized in this online space and then decided, actually, I feel so neutered being this unemployed man while my girlfriend is working 30-hour shifts as a fucking surgeon. Like, how do I create this? You know what I mean? Like, if we saw what their love looked like before he fell into this hole, instead, when we get that reveal, for me, it just makes it seem like the Harry that we see eating pussy in this movie is not real. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it makes it seem like his whole issue was just that she was not sexually available to him enough. And so I hate him.
Yeah. Okay, fair. I don't know.
I also want like more backstory. Like I want to see like Victory Project. Like who are the people actually running this? Like what is their setup? What is their technology? Like
are those red suit guys paid employees in this simulation and they're paid to be there to help maintain the world? Are they NPCs? Like
who is the ferry driver or whatever? The trolley driver. Who the fuck is that? Is that a dude? Is
he an NPC? And that's why he's like, I just do my little loop. Like,
he's got to be an NPC.
Yeah.
Who would want to just like, you know?
But like
anybody who wants to make money and have a 1950s aesthetic, and then
but like
they go back to their real, and then that's where they have their free time.
But like, how much is this costing Harry Styles? Because he couldn't find a job. And
now he's working so hard to maintain this for them.
And here's the thing, he's having to pay rent by himself and also paying Victory Project. Like what? And also, how has nobody come looking for Alice?
Apparently in the original script, part of the whole thing was that you would like fake your wife's death or whatever. So in the original script, the real Jack and Alice in the real world were getting divorced, and then when Alice like comes into the real world, she finds all these like articles and stuff that are like Alice went missing. Anyway, eventually they stopped searching. And so there is a reason that nobody is looking for her or missing her at this time.
But we don't know
that's
that.
Interesting too. Yeah, they just don't tell you anything. And you know,
all like there, kind of. The ideas are all like around, but they just didn't use the right. Like they just didn't put it together right. It's so frustrating. I love the idea of this movie. That's why I still liked it. I was like, I liked what they were trying to do. And I had fun, you know? So like, it's not, I like things that are bad sometimes. That's just how it is. But
to a degree, I like that I can come to this movie with my own ideas and fill in gaps. Like I kind of like the idea that maybe the plane is sort of this like apple in the Garden of Eden temptation to see which of the women are going to follow the rules and are not going to follow the rules so that they can like address it. You know what I mean? Like who's going to upset the balance? Obviously, Margaret goes out with her child into the desert for whatever reason. They say like she saw something, but they never really say what it is or anything like that. But like maybe it's the same kind of thing. That's why she has the plane later on. They're like, that's why they show the plane to Alice. That's why Margaret is the only one who knows Alice went out there, and like nobody else seems to know and is like shocked when they find out. Like there's good bones here, but they're just like not following the thread, or maybe they had great answers for all of this, but they just didn't make the final cut. Like I don't know. We don't know. But yeah,
we
it's
didn't
just
need like honestly any of the dancing. We already have Suspiria. Okay, we don't need another ballet horror movie. There's 2 Suspirias. All right.
I would have rather them done tennis lessons instead. And while they were like, because here's the thing too, like while some of the women were like playing tennis, the other ones could be chatting and like kind of figuring things out. Know what I mean?
But I get it with the like control and like stuff like that with ballet. It's like a very like regimented like form of dance, and you have to have like, you know,
it's their whole synchronicity, symmetry, chaos. Yeah.
the discipline aspect of it. It's like they have to stay in line as part of the dancing. And then like it's like indicative of like their whole lives where they have to stay in line. But yeah, they even talk about tennis. It's like this weird moment where they show this blonde girl for like a second in a flash, and then she's not in the movie. So I just like I feel like they got confused. Like I don't know. There's just so many little bits and bobs.
I
It's messy.
desperately want to know what is on the cutting room floor of this movie.
I
I will
desperately
sleep it
want
up
it to be
myself.
10 hours of TV so that you can do all of these aesthetic things for the sake of aesthetic, or the sake of mood building, or the sake of tone setting, or the sake of just a visual motif where you have the 1950s film of the dancing ladies that they project onto the bed when you're being put in your trance or whatever. Like there's so much room for, like the
Yeah.
music cues. Some of the music cues are so good in the same way that they like I just watched the first season of White Lotus, and they have like the music that plays throughout that like is really tense and fun and
Yeah.
great. But there is room for that, but not in a 2-hour film. There just isn't
No.
room for everything that they wanted to do. You can't have that aesthetic and this big of a world with this limited amount of world building and this big of what you want to be an emotional journey with this little emotional heart between the characters. Like, I don't know.
I want them to have Dita Von Teese in the goddamn
Yes.
martini
I don't
glass.
want to lose
That's
Dita Von Teese,
amazing.
but it
But
takes
we didn't
real estate.
need it. I would like the women to talk more than I need to see Dita Von Teese. And that's hard for me to say because she's very sexy and she looks fantastic in this. And she's having a little martini moment because she's also in that Carly Rae Jepsen video that just came out. So
Is
good
she in
for
the Carly
her.
Rae Jepsen video? She's in the Taylor
She
Swift
is.
Bejeweled video.
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh,
That's what it
that's
was. I'm
what-
so sorry. I got confused.
Apologize
like that-
to Carly.
I'm so sorry, Carly.
But also the Carly song is great, and you're right. It also
I'm
does
just
have the
obsessed with
like.
that
It would
song.
fit perfectly there because of the disco vibes.
Yeah.
But my question about Dita Von Teese is, do you think they plugged Dita Von Teese into the simulation, or do you think it's like the Tupac hologram performance?
Oh yeah, it's an NPC. They're just like, who's hot and of this pinup era. Well, I mean, it's not even a pinup era, but whatever. They're doing whatever they want. Who would look hot? Who knows their way around a large martini glass? Dita Von Teese. If they're good enough to program children, they're good enough to program Dita Von Teese to do a
Mini
little
Dita
sexy
Von
dance.
Teese in the Martini Tower from the beginning of the movie.
In season 3 of this TV show, the real Dita Von Teese sells them for copyright infringement. Sues them.
Amazing.
I just think
Oh.
there's it would be such a good TV show. There's so
would
much
be
room to
so
explore
good.
and what could come next after this and like what could be happening. Like season 2, all the other ladies, Shelly's running the show. There's so much potential here. There's so much potential, and it's just
I feel like we only
Mm.
have to wait like 5 years until it's been long enough for them to do it as a TV
Also,
show.
how long
So,
until Lifetime makes a movie about the making of this movie?
Okay. Also, we have to talk about the timeline of all the drama of this movie.
I liked when
Okay,
Harry
fair.
spit on Chris Pine, and then I liked when
Big
Harry
game.
went to his concert afterwards and was like, "Sorry, I had to go to Venice and spit on Chris Pine."
Fine.
He's a fun guy. He knows how to have fun.
Harry has jokes, okay?
He's playful. He's silly. He's goofy.
I
Silly, goofy mood.
Here's the thing. I think my favorite, like, weird portion of this was Olivia Wilde getting served papers while she was promoting this movie.
Oh my god!
Ah,
I
like,
want to know.
that was brutal. It wasn't on purpose. The serve people just go wherever they can find you in a public place.
And they knew she was gonna be there, so they were like, "Hi, we're coming for you, bitch."
I
Um,
don't take
oh,
sides in the
that's so
Olivia
bad.
Wilde Jason Sudeikis divorce because I just feel like I don't know. I've heard so much about both sides that I'm not prepared to make my final decision. You know what I mean?
Okay, but here's the
Um,
thing. If my like long-term girlfriend who I have children with was
Mhm.
going and making a salad dressing for
Harry Styles.
internationally beloved pop star, I too would
Special
fling
salad
myself in front of her car to
dressing.
stop
For
her.
Nora Ephron divorce book salad dressing.
If here's my take. If I lost my girl to Harry Styles, I'd be like, yeah,
That's Harry
there's nothing
Styles
I was
girls
gonna
now.
be able
Yeah,
to
I'd
do
be
about
like,
that.
that
There's
scans.
absolutely nothing I could have done to stop that from happening. So
You know that meme that's like this guy walks up to your girl at the club, slaps her ass. What do you do? And it's like, that's his girl now.
Well, but so there's another also like weird layer to this because there was all this big drama about like Olivia and Florence like not getting along on
Yeah.
set.
Florence
Yeah.
not
And-
promoting the film at all, even though the whole film is literally just built around
Her.
Florence.
But so
her
think
face
about this.
for
So
2 hours.
Florence was dating Zach Braff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jason Sudeikis is Ted Lasso. Zach Braff was one of like the producers on Ted Lasso, and therefore
Oh.
Florence had like a
A little
relationship with
friendship.
Jason Sudeikis. Like she was supposed to be on an episode of Ted Lasso, but like it got cut or something. It was like this whole
That
thing.
wouldn't have been
and
a good
then-
look for her. But anyway, continue.
But then here comes Olivia and like Harry and stuff. And then there was already like some weird drama because this movie was originally starring Shia LaBeouf.
And there were
And-
allegations that Florence and Harry had maybe a tete-a-tete at some point or wanted to. Somebody.
A fight or a fuck?
A fuck.
Or flirtation. It's
Yeah.
unclear. The gossip is very
That's
up in the air
also
on such
hot.
a thing.
Well,
But yeah, to say the
then-
Shia stuff.
the Shia stuff is wild because so Olivia Wilde was like, I fired him because I wanted to protect Florence and all this kind of stuff. And Shia LaBeouf, problematic. You know what I mean? Like he
Mhm.
has a lot of issues
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah,
but
he sure does.
But he was
Mhm.
like, Olivia, that is not what happened. Like it
He
was
Dakota Johnsoned her.
He literally Dakota Johnsoned her and
Actually,
had
Ellen, that's not the truth.
but had video proof of Olivia Wilde sending him a video saying, like, Shia, please come back. Like, we'll have a talk with Miss Flo.
Miss
Like,
Flo.
she doesn't know, like, she'll learn real quick, blah, blah,
Oh
blah, blah,
my
blah. Like, it was
God.
bad. And then
It was
he
bad.
released text between like him and Florence being like, hey, like, sorry, our schedules can't work out, like, blah, 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 blah. Because apparently their schedules, she was filming.
He wanted to
something and-
rehearse so much, and she was like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. And so he was like, well, if you're not going to take this seriously, I don't want to be attached to this project anymore.
And she's like, if you're going to
And-
be a bitch, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Jeez.
But so there was all of
Snippy.
that. And it was, again, Olivia Wilde did this like big, like interview with what, Vanity Fair or something, and also LOL at Harry being like, I've never like publicly come out with a girlfriend, like the week that Olivia Wilde's tagline said she's so golden.
Oh,
Oh,
my
wait, what do you mean
God.
tagline? Like her Insta bio or something?
No, on like one of the covers that she was on,
Oh,
the cover of the magazine she was on said
Ooh.
she's Olivia Wilde, she's so golden.
like the Harry Styles song.
She's so
song.
golden. Oh my God. That is.
Ba-na-na-na, ba-ba-na-na-na. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just so messy all
no.
around on every.
Okay, but also
oh,
LOL, Chelsea,
okay.
Harry Styles was announced to be taking over the Shia LaBeouf role September 11th, 2020.
My birthday.
What a
9/11.
What a gift to me.
Wait, when did the truth come out about Shia? Just wondering. Do we know?
I
Where
that
don't
was
recall
in
top of my
2019?
head.
Hold on, I can find it. It was. I've got a whole timeline like right. in
Yeah,
front of
even
me.
though
Just gotta
literally
scroll
we
down.
were all looking at Shia LaBeouf timelines earlier today.
I know. Ugh. I'm still so sad.
Yeah, I mean the
How
Shia
far
Olivia stuff
they have
is super
fallen.
interesting though.
August
because
26th of this year.
No way.
right before,
No,
because
no,
it was
you're talking about the
No.
the
When
like
did people
FKA
find
Twigs
out the
allegations.
FK Twig stuff? Yeah.
Last year, 2020.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, why would they have him in this movie at all?
Yeah, it was
Like with what
they
this movie
cast him
is, if that was
before.
already out and known, but okay, it wasn't out and known.
Yeah, I mean, he has a whole sorted. He's his own whole thing. You know what
we
I
could
mean?
do a whole
And
episode on
we
that, but I don't want to.
simply don't have the time to get into his
No.
and his deal. But it is just so messy and really gets into part of what the issue with the marketing of this film was, which is that it seems completely disingenuous what you've seen the movie to be like, it's so feminist and female pleasure oriented, and then it's these women are
Not.
literally held here against their will,
Love
and to be
it.
like, we fired this man who has abuse allegations to protect our female stars, only to find out that like you begged for him to come back and there are receipts of that. You know what I mean? It just like,
Oh, it's so
it really
messy.
it really is, you know, like if you can only work with the information that you have at the time. If you didn't know this about these allegations existed and you thought this man was the best for the role and you begged him to come back, that's fine, but just like don't try to spin
Lie.
it later, you know what I mean? And it just
Right.
makes
Here's
it
the thing.
feel like the movie itself, that all of those aspects of it are very shallow and not like deeply held convictions or whatever. And they don't, I would like them to be, you know, but like the reality is we exist in an imperfect world. Things are imperfect. People are problematic. Everyone is a little bit in whatever way. But like, don't sell yourself as this like wonderful, perfect answer to all of those things, taking on the man and then just like be a flop.
Yeah.
And here's the thing,
Ugh.
she didn't have to do any of that.
She didn't
either.
have to do any of that. She didn't have to. No one wants her to do that. I
Nope.
do want to
Who
know.
the
I
fuck
would
does
love to
her
know.
PR?
My
Who
God.
does her PR? They should be killed. I'm kidding.
That
I'm
said,
kidding.
when she posted the Nora Ephron divorce book salad dressing page on her Instagram story, that was genius.
That was good. That was one redeeming thing.
Yeah, I wonder just like how much of this film, again, I truly, Lifetime movie about the making of this movie, that would be so fun.
Yeah,
But also
documentary, please.
a documentary I would be super interested in. I would love to know how much was like Olivia Wilde's vision and how much of it came from her and her ideas and how much maybe was like studio involvement and interference. Like my friend who saw this movie with me, who was working, who works in the industry, talked about how they were really like, studios were looking to make Harry Styles a movie star for a while and like find a film to place him in basically. And so this role opened up and they were like, great, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to put him somewhere. Let's put him here. Like I want to know how much was corporate marketing strategy and how much of it was like artistic vision, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think Harry Styles was miscast in this role.
I just think if we want to have Harry in this role, that's fine, but then I need more of real world Harry to even know what I'm dealing with. Do you know what I mean? I can't marry those two visions meaningfully.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
know.
on me though. Maybe that's a me problem.
I'm glad that he was in it for me. I had fun.
I thought he was so great in the first half. I didn't think that he was bad after the reveal acting wise. I just think he's not bringing like a special little sparkle or anything. You know what I mean? Like Florence Pugh, you can say that she did or didn't have material to work with, but Florence Pugh is always going to have a sparkle.
She still bodied this.
Yeah, and like Kiki Lane, again, we saw so little from her, but she is really interesting to watch. And I wanted more from her watching this movie. no shade to Olivia's acting, because I do genuinely like her as an actress most of the time, but like I wasn't really invested in Bunny necessarily. I don't know. It was such a star-studded cast, and they were all fun in the fun scenes. But there just was not always a lot there. Unless
All style,
you
no substance.
knew.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole
Yeah.
movie.
That's the nail on the head for the whole thing. Really. That's all really well said. Oh, it's so disappointing, but I still didn't
Stand by
hate
it.
it. I still didn't hate it, you know? I wish
Mhm.
that it was completely different, but I had a time. How about that? I felt things, you know?
Here's the thing. This really did feel like a movie. Harry was not wrong.
He's so
It,
true.
it was a movie. Yeah, I was left with a lot of questions that, sometimes that's fun because you have a lot to discuss after the fact. For the most part, I was just like, I felt like the movie didn't set up discussion questions so much as it failed to provide enough subtext for the
Yeah.
questions that they wanted to ask. Like there just wasn't enough to like sink your teeth into with them.
Yeah.
Sad.
Oh,
Sad.
agreed.
When they come to me to do the TV show in 5 years, I'm gonna body it. So don't worry about it.
They
Like I
literally
got
fucking
you.
should. It would be so good. I would watch the shit out of that show. Oh my
I'd
god.
watch it.
Oh my god. It's just it just makes me go you know.
Yeah.
Well, do we have more to say about the film itself, or do we want to move into our segments?
Segment 2s?
Yeah, I think we can move into our segments.
Okay, cool. My question is, how could this movie be gayer? And my answer is, I get gay vibes from a lot of people in this movie.
Alice Gay.
Well, she was even like talking, it was the tennis where she goes,
Yeah.
it was the sexiest thing I'd ever seen in my
Mhm.
entire life.
Yeah, she says Bunny playing tennis while holding a cocktail, not spilling a drop. That's peak sexual interest,
would like
desire
to
for
see
her.
that.
I would also like to see that.
I would like to
Um,
see that.
Yeah,
There's a moment where Gemma Chan is like not quite tenderly stroking her during the ballet scene, but I think for Alice it was tender. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Alice is by 100% because she's defo into Harry. She definitely is. But I think that all these motherfuckers swing, you know, and they don't just swing to each other's husbands. They got the upside down pineapple, but they swing to each other. They swing all around. I think that Harry seemed very comfortable. Excuse me, Jack seemed very comfortable kissing Nick Kroll's character on the mouth.
Mhm.
Also, just a little like sidetrack. I felt so much less confused once I saw them kiss in the movie because I was like, why is Harry now kissing Nick Kroll at the premiere for this movie? You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
there's already so much going on, and I always want boys to kiss. But I was just like,
You gotta kiss
now
your
you're
homies, my
kissing
G.
Nick Kroll on the mouth, like this
There
seems
are
like
already so many.
after you fucking botched your interviews all day today, babe. Like, what's going on? Anyway, that cleared some shit up for me, so thank God.
Yeah. Honestly, I do remember seeing the movie and being like, okay, well, I get why they kissed at the premiere now.
Yeah, exactly. Literally exactly my same thought. But yeah, I think that they're all kissing. I mean, after you have that many martinis, everybody's kissing.
Everybody's
And-
kissing.
The scene where Chris Pine watches Florence Pugh get finger banged by Harry Styles. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
and she watches back.
and she watches
Oh, God.
back.
There are a lot
I
of
just-
hot
Everybody
things that
does love a
happen,
mirror.
just saying.
So, I mean,
It
Why
is
not?
it's a swingers community for sure.
It's a cul-de-sac and they all swing around in the cul-de-sac. It's very easy. It's perfect. That is the vision of the Victory Project. It's a sanctuary for swingers, and let them
But-
have a place to be. But do we have to do it like this?
Okay, but honestly though, it would fit to have that as part of the storyline where the whole thing with Harry again, is that Jack is like, my wife is not sexually available to me often enough, and so I am creating this world where I can come home and eat her pussy whenever I want. And she's like begging me not to go to work so that I can stay home and fuck her all day. And we're bringing in hologram Dita Von Teese to strip for us just for our entertainment. Like, clearly they are creating this sexualized environment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for them to be like, what if we also all banged each other, and also I got to watch my wife bang a bunch of people, like, that would fit right in. I think, toss
Put
it
it in the show. Put it in the TV show.
Put it in the
Put it
show.
in the show. We've got a whole banging episode. A whole episode. No, I wouldn't do that. I would make it tasteful throughout.
Like
perhaps.
the Sense8 orgy scene.
Every
What a great
episode has
show.
an orgy scene.
Okay.
The Wachowski sisters, if the Wachowski sisters had made this movie, they would have done some really interesting stuff here.
I saw an article that was like, this is like the Matrix, but they don't reveal
And the Stepford Wives.
that it's the Matrix until the end, and it's worse for it. So it's there. Content is there. Do you have any more gay feelings that you would like to express at this time?
I think the ballet scene and the tennis scene were the main things that made me go gay.
In my notes, I wrote is ballet innately gay? That was my note that I wrote during
I
that
think
scene.
a little bit. I've seen Black Swan,
Yeah, I mean, I was a ballerina. There's
and
that's
you're
where
gay.
I had my
There we
first
go.
crush on a girl. Was in ballet class.
Wow.
Name redacted. Oh my god.
I
was
know
like,
who
"That looks
she
so
is,
great in her
though."
leotard.
Text me who it is.
Oh, you already know who it is, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Moving on to where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film? And I don't want this boy to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I think it would is
Mhm.
good that he was not involved.
He'd be the doctor.
Oh, he would.
Yes, but the guy from Veep is so good as the doctor because
is
he
so
carries in
good.
so much of that obnoxious baggage from his character on Veep.
Yeah, it's so true. I really liked him as the doc.
Dr. Collins, Timothy Simons.
He's definitely gay. He doesn't even have a wife in the game, and he created this shit. He's one of the creators. So he's just schmanging Chris Pine. They're very
Yeah, I
close.
mean,
What do they do when they golf?
what do all men do when they golf? They
fuck.
say maybe they say
They
golf
get
is
real
just an
drunk
excuse for
and
men
fuck
to
on
go
the 18th hole.
on walks and talk about their feelings, is what I was saying. But fucking on the 18th hole, maybe. I mean, I've never been there, so I don't know.
The bussy is actually the 19th hole. So if you hear somebody going for 19 rounds,
Yeah,
you know
we're
what
doing
they're
19
doing.
holes today, if you catch my drift. What happens on the course stays on the course, Where did you say Maddie Lily should go? What? Gay sex on the golf course? What?
Matty Lily, where else could he be? I mean, in the TV show, he could be somebody in the real world. You know what I mean? He could be an ally in the real world. He doesn't have to be an evil person. But also, he could be any of the NPCs. And in fact, if they were all Matty Lily in the red jumpsuits, actually, I think that would be great.
That could be a really great value add. Yeah, for sure.
He could be the trolley driver.
Love to mess a trolley driver. Just a little
Mhm.
kiss of Maddie Lily. Beautiful. Okay. Then the dumb bitch.
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
All of the men.
All of
Yeah.
them, and I feel like Chris Pine is a dumb
mastermind.
bitch. Yeah. And he has the whole thing where he like confronts her in the kitchen, but then they're at the table, but then she kind of botches it because she gets too riled up. So like,
That
is he a
scene
dumb bitch
sucks.
for that, or is he not a dumb bitch for that? I don't know.
No, he did a great job. He cause just like the film did not prepare us for that scene, she was not prepared for that confrontation,
yeah.
You need to do a little pre-work where you're like whispering. If you're trying to do a mutiny, okay, there's a few things you can do. You gotta tell people, say, don't you think it's fucked up he did that to everyone and get them to kind of agree with you and then do it. So it's like plant the seed.
They really, okay, here's the thing. Sorry to go back to full-time movie discussion a little bit,
No,
but
it's
if
fine.
they're
We can
gonna
watch
do
it
the
still.
whole Margaret is fine, actually Margaret is totally fine, but Ted got fired, like, I don't know. I would want something more of, if they can create NPCs to be Dita Von Teese, like, why would they not just be like, actually Margaret is still here and she's totally fine now, but we replaced her with an AI? You know what I mean?
I don't think they're that good at it though. You know, like Dita Von Teese just does a sexy dance. The little
Sure.
kids are little kids. Not saying that little kids cannot be very nuanced, but they also go to school all day. And then when they come back, they're like, ah,
They talk
Because,
nonsense,
you know?
you know?
yeah.
I just feel like if they are able to put people into this simulation and rewire their brains and all of their memories, it wouldn't be that hard to create, again, a fake person with this same fake backstory. And it's like, oh, she's acting totally different now, but so was Alice after we gave her electroshock therapy.
I feel like it'd be too big of a risk. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because they're going to be conversing with her. It's not like they're never going to, like, it's not like she's just going to be a side character. That's why the NPC, you don't have to program them that much because you talk to them for 5 seconds, then you never talk to them again, you know, because they're just an
Okay.
extra.
If I were
So I
Chris
don't
Pine
think-
and I were not a dumb bitch, I would have NPC Margaret come back to say her goodbyes or visibly move out of town or something. Just to settle Alice's paranoia and curiosity, unless I want Alice to be paranoid and curious, which maybe I do because I'm bored.
No, he's obviously bored. He wants this weird challenge. And then it's like some game for him because he obviously controls the world. So, like, she can't,
Mm-hmm.
she does end up winning, but she can't win in his mind. So it's like just a little, another thing where she's like a little plaything for him, which is sick and disgusting. But yeah, he's not stupid, so he can't be the dumb bitch. I think it's Jack, man, because it was really stupid for him to sing that song to her lifeless corpse all the time and then sing that song in the game when she's been
the
singing that song
game.
literally all the fucking time. Truly constantly. He must have heard her humming the song. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a great song. I was like, is that
it's
real
a Harry
song?
original. Harry did that for
Oh.
realsies, allegedly.
Yet another moment where he deserves the Oscar for this performance, as Olivia has stated time and time again.
Yeah,
God
I
damn.
mean, I do think Jack is also a dumb bitch because he really thinks that he can get Alice to stay once she figures it out. Like, he really is like, didn't you just say it doesn't matter where we are as long as we're together? We're together here in this fake world. That's what you said. That's basically what you just asked me for, right? Girl,
And he,
no, it's not. And you know that.
But he almost is so delusional where he really thinks that like he's provided a better life for her because she was so sad before. Like he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He's drinking his own Kool-Aid. But then he gets so mad. So, you know, I don't know. It's like,
I mean, he lets them take
Bad.
her off to electroshock therapy, all of her memories away. So
yeah,
he's dumb
Fun
bitch.
fact.
he's dumb.
One of
bitch.
my
Oh?
grandmas used to get electroshock therapy.
It's very effective, but you also do lose some of your memories sometimes.
I'm just saying,
Eesh,
crazy
eesh.
runs in the family, baby.
Hey.
Oh, Lord.
The family straitjacket.
Oh.
I do
my
have that
God.
up in my closet.
I know you do. That's why I brought it up.
I love it.
Yeah. He's
Are we
dumb
ready
bitch.
for knives out of fives?
Oh,
Yes.
I guess we are. I was like, don't we have another segment? But
You want to make one up right now?
well,
No.
we're officially out of F-slur November, so you know.
Yeah,
That
we don't
is
have to make
true.
it an F slur. I don't even think we did that for Knives Out, by the way, but that's fine.
I don't think we did it officially, but I mean, I think there were echoes of it throughout as we discussed some characters.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
what is the critical reception of this film thus far?
Here's the thing about this movie. Again, it was really hyped. And it was really marketed as like a prestige film. And so I think critics had really, really high expectations that were not met, because on Rotten Tomatoes, from critics, this movie has a 38%, which is
Oof.
pretty rotten.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, but comparatively from audiences, it has a 74%, which is fresh and like twice as much. And on IMDb, it has a 6.2 out of 10, which again, not so bad. And it was nominated for 3 People's Choice Awards for 2022. We don't know yet. The arbiter of taste. The People's Choice Awards this year are actually the same day that this episode drops. So you guys, if you're listening to this episode right away, don't worry, you can find out so soon if it won any of these People's Choice Awards or not. But it was nominated for Drama Movie Star for Florence Pugh. It was nominated for Drama Movie Star for Harry Styles, and it was nominated for Drama Movie of the Year. So, I mean, the people liked it enough in that regard, and people liked it a lot more than critics liked it.
What did you say the percent was for audiences? Sorry.
74% compared to critics 38%.
There's some things to like, you know? If you just
Yeah.
go in smooth brain, you might forget that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing. Like, this movie is not bad. Like what I said in the beginning, it's a very medium film. It's not bad. There's a lot here that is well done. Like some of the aesthetic choices are really strong and interesting. Some of the directorial stuff is really interesting. Like I love seeing them all pull out of their driveways in unison. Like that kind of stuff is really cool. And they do a lot of really cool choices visually in the film. I wish those had like amounted to something. Like her looking at herself in the mirror, she's Kiki Lane in the mirror, she's in the bathtub, blah blah blah. Like you get a lot of interest, her getting smushed in the walls. Like it is fun and fascinating to watch if there had been literally any payoff for it. But instead it feels hollow.
Cellophane wrap on her face, you know?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that? What was going on there? Never know.
Like,
You'll never know.
Was that an instinctive urge that she was trying to escape because she knew that something was wrong? Or was it like the programming trying to sabotage her because she was like onto them? Like, we just don't know. We don't have any answers for that kind of thing. And we really also don't have a lot of direction to point us one way or another.
Yeah.
But again, there is a lot here that's well done. I like Dita Von Teese in the glass. You know what I mean? I like all of the flashes throughout where they're giving you a glimpse of the footage or a glimpse of the like emergency theater or whatever where they're doing the medical procedures. Like I like that they're giving you little glimpses, even that like completely blink and you miss it, not even blink and you miss it, like you can't see it unless you happen to pause at just the right second thing, Monica.
Yeah. Like there's a scene like right after Margaret like speaks out at the gathering at Chris Pine's house. Can't remember his character's name. And she is like saying like, oh, like I haven't been sleeping, and her husband like pulls this curtain to cover her up so Florence Pugh can't see her anymore. And in that second that she closes the curtain, there's a flash and it's of Florence Pugh's face at the like towards the end, and it's her face like in the real world with that weird eye thing like over her eyes. And so it like literally shows like the twist right then and there, but it's literally a millisecond. It took me so long to pause it, but I think it's at 22:35.
It's probably like a singular frame.
Yeah, it's like a singular frame. So she's doing stuff cool. Like great for the viewers on HBO Max.
I like a lot of those directorial choices. I just feel like there was not enough story or plot or connection between the characters to make any of it super strong. Like it's not, even if it were really bad, it would be exciting in its own way. You know what I mean? It's not even that it's really bad, it's that it's so medium. which for me, I mean, I kind of feel like 3 knives out of 5 is a good score. And so I would give it slightly lower than that. I would probably give it like a 2.78, you know what I mean? Where it's like it's almost 3, but it's not 3. That's
Totally.
where I would give it in my knives. It has so much potential. It's gonna be a banger of a TV show one day. It's not there yet.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Sydney?
I'm a 3. I think if it wasn't as beautiful as it would be a lower score, but I did still find it like
It's a visual feast.
enthralling.
Yeah.
It is. I still like was very to a point. You know what I mean? And then the middle, I wish this movie was a tight 90, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wish it was a little bit more like focused.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did too much. Yeah.
and I think it got lost in it got lost in all the drama, quite frankly. And I think like the story got lost. But I do think I agree with Chelsea. It would make an incredible mini series.
Yeah.
Really gives it the space to be a slow burn if that's what you want it to be.
No, it would be so good as that. And like, I'm right there with you, Sydney. I'm giving this a 3. You know, like I had fun when I watched this movie. I also was like really freaked out by it at first because just this concept in general is just so fucking fucked up. You know, if you think about it for a really long time, you just feel so bad. So bad. But I also was totally enamored with the aesthetics like we were talking about. Like I am literally throwing a cocktail party for New Year's Eve, by the way, just so you guys know. Invite.
Okay,
pending.
put it on the cow. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in the cow. Because like inspired by this movie, like I loved like the fun aspect of it, you know, like and like I said before, I was moved by like, you know, she is like having to make a choice to take agency to get her life back when like, you know, she has this easy choice of a life that is like, you know, fun, but it is like vapid, you know. And so I was moved by that and by Florence Pugh's acting. So it's a 3 for me. I will watch this again and I'll have a good time and I'll look at everyone's outfit and I'll go on eBay and try to find the same dresses. So that's where I'm at.
I'll watch it up until the reveal and then I'll turn it off.
Right.
Fair. Very fair.
I don't need to see ugly Harry Styles again. Thank you so much for your contribution, Harry Styles. I will look at cute Harry Styles and then I will say, oh no, the movie ended. Oh no, the movie is over. Good night.
Good night. Oh man, that's Don't Worry, Darling. In the end, we did have to worry. Oh. Just too bad. So next week, we're doing a movie that we have been planning to do for so long. We have definitely not just decided right now, 1 second ago, to do this movie. We have been planning this for actually months because, as you know,
planning it
we
since we
think
did
about
Ethan
this.
Hockey.
We think about everything a lot and it's all connected. We're like Taylor Swift in that way, where there's all these Easter eggs and we're surprised you haven't picked up on them.
Sometimes we're
there's a
even
lot more that you haven't
surprised
brought up.
about our own Easter eggs.
Yeah, honestly, like step it up a little bit. But we are going to be doing a a modern classic for some. We are doing Insidious next week, which came out in a year of our Lord. What was it? 2012?
I think
2010.
2012. Oh, 2010.
2010?
I just
2010
Googled it.
sometime.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember being spooked very thoroughly when I saw this in the theater as a youth. So who's to say that it will hold up? But it could.
Wait, why did I think Ethan Hockey was in this movie?
He's
No,
not.
it's the same guy as The Conjuring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that
Patrick
guy.
Wilson.
Yeah.
He's cute.
Oh, Rose Byrne's here.
It's
Okay,
remember-
I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I haven't seen it.
It's spooky.
I thought
It's a spooky concept.
we had. Oh, is it the same director as Sinister, and that's
It's
why I have
James
them
Wan.
linked in my brain?
No,
Why
it's
do I
not.
have them linked in my brain? I guess we'll
They
find out.
are both scary.
That is so true.
Allegedly. Allegedly, they're both horror movies that came out around a similar time, maybe ish. Sinister's more recent, maybe. Who's
Yeah,
to
Sinister was
say? But we're
2012.
doing it anyway. We thought maybe we'll do one that's actually scary for a change, but we don't know if it is.
There is potentially an untitled crossover between the Sinister and Insidious franchises that's going to happen at some point. I don't think that I knew that before, but maybe subconsciously I knew.
Oh my God.
We'll
No,
talk
you
about it
didn't.
later.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
In my heart, maybe well,
Anyway, how about this? Why not give us a 5-star review? And in that 5-star review, you should write all of the Easter eggs that you have gleaned from being an avid listener of Spooky Tuesday. You can make them up. That's fine. We're making everything that we say up as we go. So might as well just continue the trend. But yeah, five-star review, please. We'd love to see it. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Twitter is getting worse and worse every day, but see our final death rattle tweets like for a limited time only. We also are on Tumblr and Facebook. So that's at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And we're on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. And thank you for listening.
Bye, spookies.
Yumi. Always. Yumi.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamra, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.